For years, Earth's space monitoring stations had been picking up strange signals from deep space. At first, they thought they were just normal star explosions or cosmic events. But as time went on, the patterns became clear. These were not natural events. They were flashes from massive space battles happening many light years away. Kim Ji-won sat at his desk in the Global Space Initiative headquarters, reviewing the latest reports. As director of Earth's premier space monitoring agency, he had watched these distant conflicts grow in frequency and intensity over the past decade. Outside his window, Seoul's skyline glittered in the morning sun, peaceful and unaware of the chaos unfolding in distant star systems. "Another battle near the Orion sector," said Lee Minju, his assistant, placing a tablet on his desk. "That's the third this month." Kim nodded gravely. "The Galactic Council is tearing itself apart. Earth had only learned about the existence of the Galactic Council 15 years ago, when the first alien delegation arrived on our planet. The Council, made up of 7 advanced alien civilizations, had been managing interstellar affairs for millennia. They had welcomed Earth as observers, seeing humans as a young species with potential. But now the Council was at war with itself. It's these pocket dimensions they discovered, Kim explained to his team during their morning briefing. Tiers in space that lead to whole new realities full of resources and energy. Everyone wants control of them. The conference room fell silent as images from their deep space telescopes flashed on the wall screen. Distant explosions of light and color that represented thousands of lives lost in battles humans could barely comprehend. Across the city, in a secret military facility, Colonel Park Ji-ho reviewed different kinds of data. While the official position of Earth's governments was strict neutrality, Park had been authorized to study the alien battle transmissions they intercepted. He wanted to understand how these advanced beings fought wars. "Look at the energy signatures. From that last battle," Park told his small team of analysts, "their weapons are beyond anything we could imagine. A single one of their smaller ships could probably wipe out half our planet." His assistant, Captain Seo Hyejin, zoomed in on footage they'd managed to capture using their most advanced telescopes. "The scary thing is how fast they're developing new weapons. This conflict is pushing their technology forward at an incredible pace." Park nodded. "And we're just sitting here watching, learning what we can." He sighed, rubbing his tired eyes. "Though I hope we never need to use any of this knowledge." That evening, Park met with Director Kim at a small noodle shop in the older part of the city. They'd been friends since university, though their careers had taken different paths. "The president called today," Kim said quietly as they ate. "The alien ambassadors are getting more persistent about asking for our support." "And what did you tell them?" Park asked, watching steam rise from his bowl. "The same thing we always say. Earth remains neutral in this conflict. We're too young, too inexperienced in galactic politics. We won't take sides." Park stirred his noodles thoughtfully. "Do you really think that will protect us? That they'll respect our neutrality if the war gets worse?" Kim looked out the window. "Get people walking by, living normal lives, unaware of the cosmic politics that could one day reach their doorstep. I have to believe it. What choice do we have? Our most advanced spacecraft can barely reach Mars. Their smallest fighters can cross galaxies." Back at his apartment, Park stood on his balcony looking up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, civilizations with technology thousands of years ahead of Earth were locked in a war over resources humans could barely understand. He thought about the battle transmissions he'd studied, the devastating weapons, the strategies these aliens employed. "We're not ready," he whispered to himself. "If that war ever comes here." He didn't finish the thought. He didn't need to. The next morning, strange readings came in from Earth's furthest monitoring station near Neptune. Something was disturbing the outer edge of our solar system, energy signatures unlike anything they'd seen before. "Could be just a solar flare affecting our instruments," suggested one technician. Director Kim wasn't convinced. "Check it again and alert Colonel Park's team." As the day progressed, more unusual readings came in. Something was happening at the edge of our solar system, something that made the hairs on the back of Kim's neck stand up. "Sir," called Lee Min-ju from her station, "we're picking up a transmission. I think it's a distress signal." Kim rushed over, his heart pounding. On the screen, alien symbols flashed urgently. Their translation software worked to decode the message. When it finally did, Kim felt his blood run cold, requesting emergency sanctuary, under heavy attack, crossing your system boundary. For years, Earth had watched the Galactic War from afar. Now, despite all their careful neutrality, it seemed the war was coming to them. The morning had started like any other in Seoul. Lee Hyun was working in his lab at the National Science Institute, analyzing data from recent atmospheric tests. Outside, people hurried to work. Street vendors set up their stalls and children made their way to school. Nobody knew that everything was about to change. The first sign came as a strange rumbling that made coffee cups vibrate on desks. Then, the sky turned an unnatural shade of purple. Lee looked up from his computer and rushed to the window. "What's happening?" asked his colleague Park Somi, joining him at the window. Before Lee could answer, a massive object broke through the clouds. A ship unlike anything humans had ever built. Its metal surface was scorched and smoking. Pieces broke off as it hurtled toward Earth at impossible speeds. "That's not one of ours," Lee whispered, his hands trembling as he reached for his phone to record what he was seeing. The damaged ship slowed just enough to avoid complete destruction as it crashed into the Yellow Sea, sending a tsunami of water toward coastal cities. But there was no time to process what had happened, because 3 more ships appeared in pursuit, their weapons firing beams of intense light that cut through the atmosphere. All across the world, similar scenes played out. As the battle spread, a pursuing cruiser crashed in the Amazon rainforest, burning millions of acres in minutes. Another alien ship hovered over Sydney, its weapons leaving the harbor in ruins. From space, Earth suddenly looked like a battlefield, with fires visible, from orbit across 3 continents. In Washington, the president ordered fighter jets to intercept the alien ships. In Beijing, missile systems targeted the invaders. In Moscow, nuclear weapons were readied. But Earth's most advanced military technology might as well have been throwing stones. Missiles were destroyed mid-air before they got close. Fighter jets were swatted away like flies. Nuclear launches were somehow disabled before they could even leave their silos. Lee watched news footage of these failed defenses on his phone as he and thousands of others evacuated Seoul's center. The ground shook again as one of the alien ships positioned itself directly over the city. "They're not even fighting us," said an old man next to Lee in the crowd. "They're fighting each other. We're just in the way." He was right. The aliens barely seemed to notice the humans scrambling below them. Their focus remained on each other, continuing whatever war they had brought from the stars. 3 days after the initial arrival, the pattern became clear. The first aliens, later identified as the Vorax, had established bases in Asia and South America. Their pursuers, called the Meridian, controlled positions in North America, Europe, and Australia. Earth had become their new battlefield, with humans caught in the middle. Lee found himself working alongside military officials who had commandeered the Science Institute. His expertise in atmospheric science was suddenly valuable as they tried to understand how the alien ships operated. From his laboratory window, he could see how Seoul's skyline had changed. Strange metallic structures now rose between skyscrapers, connected by beams of light. The Vorax had built a base in just days, demolishing entire neighborhoods to make space. "They didn't ask permission," said General Kang during a briefing. "They didn't negotiate. They just took what they needed." "What about the people who lived there?" asked Somi, who had volunteered to help analyze alien communication patterns. "Displaced," the general replied grimly. "Nearly 3 million people from Central Seoul alone. Reports came in from around the world of similar situations." Rio now had a massive Vorax structure covering what had once been its famous beaches. The Meridians had built something that looked like a floating city above what remained of London. 1 week after the invasion, Lee found himself assigned to a team trying to establish communication with the Vorax. They were led to a heavily guarded perimeter surrounding the alien base in Seoul. "Stay behind the line," warned a soldier as they approached. "Yesterday they vaporized 3 people who got too close." Near the perimeter, Lee saw firsthand how advanced the aliens truly were. Workers in strange protective suits moved between human buildings and their own structures, sometimes demolishing entire apartment blocks in minutes with handheld devices. "They're reshaping our city to serve as a strategic position," said Dr. Yun Jiho, the team's senior scientist. "Look there, they're building defense systems facing north and east. Where the Meridians control territory," Lee realized. As night fell, the alien structures glowed with an eerie blue light. From a distance, they almost looked beautiful. But Lee couldn't appreciate the view, not when he thought about the families who once lived where those structures now stood. In the makeshift command center established at the university, Lee watched satellite feeds showing similar scenes playing out across the planet. Human governments were in chaos. Military forces were regrouping, but conventional weapons had proven useless. "What can we possibly do against technology this advanced?" asked a young lieutenant, voicing what everyone was thinking. Lee didn't have an answer then, but as he looked at the transformed skyline of the city he loved, something hardened inside him. Humans might be outmatched, but they weren't defeated. Not yet. "We adapt," he said finally, turning back to his work. "We learn, and we find a way to take our planet back." 2 months after the invasion, humanity faced a bitter truth. Conventional warfare against the aliens was impossible. The Vorax and Meridian forces had carved up Earth into competing territories, with humans caught in between. But in this darkest moment, something remarkable happened. People began to adapt. In an underground laboratory beneath what was once Seoul National University, Dr. Kang Mina worked tirelessly. Before the invasion, she had been a leading quantum physicist, studying the strange transmissions from space. Now those years of research were finally proving useful. "Hand me that component," she said to her assistant, pointing to a piece of salvaged alien technology. Around her, a team of scientists, engineers, and former hackers huddled over workbenches, littered with broken alien devices. "Is it true?" asked Jin Wushik, a former video game developer who had discovered a talent for understanding alien code. "Did we actually intercept their communications?" Dr. Kang nodded, her eyes red from lack of sleep. "Yes, but intercepting isn't enough. We need to understand it." She carefully connected the salvaged component to her makeshift computer. The Vorax use quantum entanglement for instant communication across vast distances. It's technology we theorized about but never managed to build. "Until now," Jin said with a small smile. Across the world, similar scenes played out in hidden bases and makeshift labs. As traditional governments struggled to function, informal networks emerged. Scientists shared discoveries through encrypted channels. Military units that had survived the initial attack joined forces with civilian resistance groups. People who had never imagined themselves as fighters learned new skills. In what remained of Tokyo, teenagers who had grown up playing simulation games became expert drone pilots, using modified civilian drones to spy on Meridian bases. In the ruins of Rio, construction workers used their knowledge of building structures to identify weak points in Vorax architecture. 3 months into the occupation, the first major breakthrough came when resistance fighters in Australia managed to down a small Meridian scout ship. Within days, the ship's technology was being studied in 20 different hidden locations around the world. "Look at this," Dr. Kang said, holding up what appeared to be a simple metal sphere. "It's part of their communication system. The quantum patterns it generates are similar to what we detected before the invasion, but there's something else, a vulnerability." Her team worked day and night analyzing the patterns. What they discovered sent ripples of hope through the global resistance. The Vorax communication system had a flaw. Their quantum signals followed predictable patterns that, with the right equipment, could be disrupted. Meanwhile, in the mountains outside what was once Busan, General Choi Tae-ho led what remained of South Korea's military forces. The former naval commander had organized one of the most effective resistance groups on the peninsula, using guerrilla tactics against both alien factions. "We hit their supply convoys here and here," he explained to his officers, pointing at a map. "Small strikes, nothing big enough to trigger a major response." "Sir," interrupted a young lieutenant, "there's something approaching our perimeter, but it's different." The alarm spread quickly through the base, but what arrived wasn't a Vorax or Meridian attack force. Instead, a single ship of unfamiliar design landed just outside their hidden base. From it emerged beings that looked almost, but not quite, human. "We are Morituri," said their leader in perfect Korean, though her mouth moved strangely with the words. "We come seeking allies against our common enemies." General Choi kept his weapon raised. "Why should we trust you? You're just another alien faction." The Morituri leader nodded. "Yes, we are the 7th Council race. We have watched your people these past months. While other worlds surrendered when faced with Vorax and Meridian technology, you adapted. You fought back. This interests us." That night, in a tense meeting, the Morituri explained their position. The Galactic Council had fractured when the pocket dimensions were discovered. The Vorax wanted to exploit them immediately. The Meridians wanted to study them carefully. The war had spread across 17 star systems before reaching Earth. "We believe in balance," explained the Morituri representative, "and we believe your species might help restore it." "By fighting your war for you?" General Choi asked skeptically. "By fighting alongside us," the alien corrected. "We can offer technology, knowledge. You can offer unpredictability. The Vorax and Meridian understand each other's tactics after centuries of conflict. But you humans, you think differently." The alliance was controversial. Many humans wanted nothing to do with any aliens. But as Dr. Kang pointed out when consulted, we need every advantage we can get. 2 weeks later, the first joint human Morituri operation took place. Using Morituri stealth technology, combined with Dr. Kang's communication disruptors, resistance, fighters successfully infiltrated a Vorax base in Thailand and extracted crucial intelligence. "It's working," Dr. Kang said, studying the stolen data. "With this, we can predict their movements, maybe even hack their defense systems." General Choi was more cautious. "For now, we're useful to the Morituri. But what happens if we actually win this war? Will they treat us as equals or just another conquered world?" Dr. Kang looked up from her work. "That's tomorrow's problem. Today we focus on survival. And for the first time since they arrived, I actually believe we might have a chance." Across Earth, as news of the Alliance spread, hope began to replace despair. Humans had always been adaptable. Now that trait might just save their world. The plan had a simple name, Operation Trojan Horse. But nothing about it was simple. After 6 months of alien occupation, the combined human resistance forces were ready to make their first coordinated global strike. The planning room beneath the ruins of Incheon was crowded with military leaders, scientists, and civilian volunteers from across the world, connected to similar groups on every continent through secure Morituri communication tech. "Everything depends on timing," said General Choi, standing before the digital map of Earth showing Vorax territories in red and Meridian in blue. "If any part of this plan fails, the whole operation collapses." Yoon Dong-hyun watched from the back of the room. 6 months ago, he had been a programmer for a mobile gaming company. Now he led the team responsible for the most crucial part of humanity's counterattack. His hands trembled slightly as he reviewed the code on his tablet one more time. "You okay?" asked Kim Sung-min, his former college roommate and now fellow resistance fighter. Yoon nodded. "Just thinking about how much is riding on this." The operation would begin at dawn with a Morituri attack on Vorax supply lines in the outer solar system. A diversion designed to draw attention away from Earth. Meanwhile, over 1,000 modified communication satellites, secretly positioned over the previous months, would activate simultaneously, broadcasting Dr. Kang's quantum disruption signal to temporarily blind alien targeting systems. "Remember," Dr. Kang told the assembled leaders, "the disruption will only last 43 minutes. That's our window. In those 43 minutes, resistance fighters around the world would launch simultaneous attacks on key alien positions, using weapons reverse-engineered from crashed alien ships. But the real blow would come from Yoon's team, who planned to infiltrate the massive Meridian command ship hovering over what remained of Hong Kong. That night, no one slept much. Yoon sat alone on the roof of their hidden base, looking up at the stars that had once seemed so distant and peaceful. Now they represented a threat, the vastness from which the invaders had come. "Mind if I join you?" It was Ha Ji-woo, the pilot who would fly their stealth craft to the Meridian ship tomorrow. Yoon moved over, making space. Nervous about tomorrow? Terrified, she admitted with a small laugh, but also ready. My family was in Busan when the Meridians bombed the harbor. She fell silent for a moment. What about you? Why did you join the resistance? Yoon thought about the question. Because I understand systems, how they work, how they can be broken. If that can help take back our planet, he shrugged. Then that's what I'll do. Dawn came too quickly. The stealth ship, a hybrid of human and Morituri technology, carried Yoon's 6-person team toward the Meridian command vessel. From their approach vector, they could see Hong Kong below, its famous skyline now dominated by the alien structure that hovered above the harbor, casting everything in shadow. Disruption signal activating in 3, 2, 1, came Dr. Kang's voice over the comm. All around Earth, the modified satellites came online simultaneously. The effect was immediate. Alien defense systems flickered and reset, creating the critical opening they needed. We have our window, said Haji Wu, piloting their craft toward a maintenance hatch, identified by previous reconnaissance drones. 43 minutes starting now. The ship docked with a metallic clunk. Yoon took a deep breath as he put on his helmet. The air inside the Meridian vessel would be breathable, but they couldn't risk setting off atmospheric sensors. Remember, he told his team, we move fast, we stay quiet, and we get to the central processing core. Inside, the Meridian ship was a maze of curved corridors lit by an eerie blue glow. They encountered 2 alien maintenance workers who were quickly subdued with stun weapons provided by the Morituri. 20 minutes into their mission, they reached the processing core, a massive chamber filled with what looked like liquid metal flowing through transparent tubes. That's it, Yoon whispered, pointing to a crystalline structure in the center, their main network interface. With practiced movements, his team set up the equipment they'd brought. Park Min-hee, a former cybersecurity expert, kept watch on a EE scanner that monitored alien movements throughout the ship. Yoon connected their device to the crystal interface and began uploading the virus they'd spent months creating. 32 minutes elapsed, warned Hajiwu. We need to move faster. The upload bar seemed to crawl across Yoon's screen. Sweat dripped down his face inside his helmet. In the distance, alarms began to sound. They're starting to bypass the disruption, Park warned. Security teams are moving this way. Almost there, Yoon said, watching the upload complete. Just need to activate the trigger sequence. His fingers flew across the interface, initiating the program that would turn the Meridian defense systems against the Vorax fleet. As soon as it was done, they ran back toward their ship, barely escaping as the first security teams reached the processing core. As they pulled away from the command vessel, they watched their virus take effect. The massive weapon arrays on the Meridian ship, designed to target Vorax vessels, suddenly turned toward Vorax positions on Earth. At the same time, Vorax weapons turned toward Meridian installations. It's working, breathed Hajiwu as they sped away. They're shooting at each other, not us. Across Earth, resistance forces seized key positions, while alien defenses were compromised. By the time the Vorax and Meridian realized they'd been manipulated, they faced a critical choice. Continue fighting on Earth while their home systems remained vulnerable, or redirect forces to protect their core territories. Within days, alien ships began lifting off from Earth, rushing to defend their home worlds from each other. They didn't leave entirely. Both sides maintained smaller forces on the planet, but the massive occupation was breaking apart. In the Resistance headquarters, Yoon watched the ships departing with a mixture of disbelief and hope. Did we just win? Asked Kim Sungmin beside him. General Choi overheard the question. Not yet, he said. But for the first time since they arrived, we've shown them that Earth isn't just another battlefield to be sacrificed in their war. We've shown them that humans are a force to be reckoned with. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council looked nothing like Han Jisoo had imagined during her years as a diplomatic attaché. Before the invasion, humans had only seen grainy transmissions of this chamber. Now she stood in the center of it, feeling the weight of humanity on her shoulders. The circular room stretched hundreds of meters across, with 7 massive platforms arranged in a circle. Each platform represented one of the major galactic civilizations. For decades, the human platform had remained small and set lower than the others, the position of observers, not equals. Today, for the first time, it stood at the same height as the rest. "Are you ready?" asked Kim Ji-won, who had once directed Earth's space monitoring program and now served as her chief advisor. Jisoo adjusted her formal suit, designed to blend human tradition with galactic diplomatic standards. "As ready as anyone can be to represent 8 billion people to an audience of star-traveling civilizations." The scars on Kim's face from the Battle of Seoul had faded somewhat, but they still told the story of Earth's suffering. Similar scars marked their planet, cities partly in ruins, coastlines reshaped by crashed ships, forests burned by alien weapons. Yet in just 1 year, humans had begun to rebuild, using salvaged alien technology alongside their own ingenuity. The 7th Council session of the 12th Galactic Cycle will now begin, announced a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Representatives of each civilization took their positions. The Vorax delegation, once the largest, had been reduced to just 3 representatives. Their war with the Meridians had cost them dearly. The Meridians themselves appeared on their platform via hologram, still unwilling to physically attend the same sessions as their enemies. The Morituri, Earth's reluctant allies during the conflict, nodded respectfully toward the human delegation. Beside them stood representatives from the Olmexi, Drath, and Kalari, the 3 civilizations that had maintained neutrality during the war. "The Council recognizes Earth as a full member," said the Olmexi speaker, their translucent bodies shimmering as they spoke. "A position earned through your defense of your homeworld and your role in bringing the 5th-dimensional conflict to resolution." Jisoo stepped forward, feeling strangely calm despite the monumental moment. "Earth accepts this recognition and the responsibilities that come with it." Back on Earth, billions watched this moment through a combination of human and alien broadcasting technology. In a field hospital outside the ruins of Bangkok, Dr. Sunan paused her work treating patients to watch the transmission on a makeshift screen. "Is that really happening?" asked a young volunteer beside her. "Are we really part of their council now?" Dr. Sunan nodded, remembering the day alien ships had first appeared in Earth's sky. "We've earned our place the hard way." In what remained of Paris, Yoon Dong-hyun watched from the rooftop of a partially rebuilt apartment complex. The programmer whose virus had helped turn the tide of the war now led a team integrating alien technology with Earth's existing systems. Beside him stood engineers from 5 different countries, all working together on reconstruction efforts. "Never thought I'd see this day," said Lakshmi, an engineer from Mumbai. "A year ago we were hiding in tunnels from their bombs." Yoon nodded, looking at the alien-human hybrid power plant they had constructed. "We learned fast because we had to." That was the story of Earth's year, since Operation Trojan Horse had forced the alien fleets to redirect most of their forces away from the planet. Humans had scavenged every piece of alien technology they could find. Scientists who once took decades to develop new technologies now made breakthroughs weekly, building on the advanced science left behind. Back in the council chamber, Jisoo presented Earth's peace proposal. The document represented months of work by a coalition of Earth's remaining governments and resistance leaders. "Our proposal establishes new protocols for resource sharing from the pocket dimensions," she explained. "It recognizes the sovereign rights of developing worlds and creates a framework for technological exchange that benefits all civilizations, not just the most powerful." The proposal was radical by Council standards. For millennia, advanced civilizations had simply taken what they wanted from less developed worlds. Earth was suggesting a different path. "Humans think strangely," observed the Drath representative, their multifaceted eyes blinking in sequence. "You suggest that stronger powers have responsibilities toward weaker ones. We suggest that today's weaker powers may be tomorrow's stronger ones," Jisoo replied, "as Earth has demonstrated." In a rehabilitation center in Nairobi, General Choi watched the proceedings with other military leaders. His leg, lost during the final battle to reclaim Seoul, had been replaced with a prosthetic built using alien medical technology. They still don't understand us, he said to his colleagues. They think our victory was just about clever tactics. What was it about then? Asked a young officer. The general smiled. It was about humanity's greatest strength, our ability to unite despite our differences when facing a common threat. As the council session concluded with the historic acceptance of Earth's proposal, Jisoo felt a profound sense of responsibility. Earth was changed forever. Cities once filled with ordinary life now featured alien architecture, alongside human buildings. Children played with toys made from repurposed alien materials. Scientists worked with concepts that would have been incomprehensible a year earlier. Walking back to the Earth delegation's chambers, Jisoo passed a window overlooking the galactic capital, a massive space station where the council had met for thousands of years. "What are you thinking?" asked Kim, joining her at the window. "I'm thinking about how strange it is," she replied. "A year ago we were fighting for survival. Now we're helping shape the policies that will govern 1,000 worlds." "And the war?" Kim asked. "Do you think our peace will last?" Jisoo watched ships from dozens of civilizations moving through the stars beyond the window. "I don't know. But for the first time, we have a voice in what happens next. Earth is no longer just a battlefield in someone else's war. We've earned our seat at the table."